Shit is about to get real. This is Raw and Real with your business BFFs, Lauren Ciesco and Jen Navarro. Let's be honest, no one likes a long intro, so let's dive in now.
Welcome back. And before we hop into today's episode, I have some quick little extra show notes that I want to share with you before this one specifically. The first one is that we kind of messed up on the audio for the first, we'll say about 9-ish minutes. One part of the audios or some part of the audios go in and out or a little bit quieter. But I still wanted to share this episode because this one happens to be one of my favorite ones of this season that we recorded. So if you are having trouble hearing in a few parts in the first 9 minutes, you can actually go on YouTube. We are on YouTube if you didn't know that. And there are subtitles that you could put on, and then you'll be able to see what we are saying there. So if you're having trouble, go watch it on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, I'm sharing behind the scenes videos. So when me and Jen are talking about going and hiking up in the Hollywood Hills for a glamour shot, or for how we used to record our podcast in my bathtub, I'm putting up pictures and taking you guys along with us. So on this particular episode, which is all about how to authentically express yourself and talk and show up online, we talk a lot about how we got so good was by practicing. And one of the things that me and Jen wanted to do, even though it makes us totally cringe, is to share our first videos that we ever made. So if you stay on at the end of this episode on the video in YouTube or on Spotify, you can actually watch both mine and Jen's videos and see how far that we have come. And even if you can't watch it, you'll be able to hear in our voice how different we sound. And as cringy as it is, we really wanted to share this because we want to have you guys see how far that we've come and help you see that it is possible for you through a little bit of practice and through what we talk about in this episode. So this episode is one of my favorites. We definitely get real, we get raw, we have a little bit of sparring with our point of views, and even end up in tears in this episode. And if you have liked these episodes so far, you like this one, it would mean the world to us if you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on podcasts, on Spotify, and as well as comment or share, leave reviews. We want to get this in as many people's hands as we possibly can. And all the small little likes, shares, listens, comments, reviews help us. So we love you so much and can't wait for you to jump into this episode. Enjoy.
Class is in session.
We are back for another episode. And yesterday, we took a day off. So for those that don't know, I am down in Mexico City for 6 days, and we are recording all of the episodes for this season. And yesterday was a fun day, and we got to bike around Mexico City.
So for those of you listening to this, the audio version, this is a video podcast as well. So you can find us on Spotify and for the visual version, the video version of the podcast. So if you hear me clinking around today, having my special drink, dandelion tea. So now you know.
And a little fun fact about Jen is she loves having fun, special drinks. It's like what's like your hobby and your joy? She has like these special cups and the special the special straws. And my favorite part is she has an ice machine just for her special ice, which I am obsessed with ice. So it's really convenient for me too. And every morning I wake up and she has fresh ice waiting for me.
I do. It's true. Lauren, her special ice every single morning. So friendship.
Yes. I hope everyone has a friend like Jen.
And I hope everybody has a friend like Lauren.
And if not, you have us.
We're third as besties.
Exactly. So hello. Hey, friend. Okay. So today
we're talking about authenticity, showing up as yourself, and self-expression.
Yeah.
One of our favorite topics to discuss, and not just here for you all. Talk about them on the phone.
Yeah. And it's really actually fun to think, Jen, of how far both me and you have come in our businesses with our not only just being ourselves and our authenticity, but then also really about how we express ourselves and really finding our voice. And so if you're starting off in your business or if you've been doing this for a while, just know that these conversations and what we're coming at you after, what we're talking to you today is from 8 years of really practicing and refining and having fun with it and evolving to where it feels really authentic and fun now.
Let's address the elephant in the room, the word authenticity. I think we just have to talk about it real quick before we jump.
Yeah.
Just because like it is one of these buzzwords lose its meaning and in a lot of spaces and some people even feel real icky about the word because there's a lot of people selling this, right? And so what I want to say about it is that it's a hard concept to fully wrap your mind around because what even is authenticity except for what we're believing our authentic self really is, and layered on top of that, how are we expressing that about ourselves? And to a certain extent, there's always a little percentage performance happening whenever we're going into spaces of self-expression, like here on podcast, right? We can't fully just be in a being ourselves mode as well, let's face it, especially as like Gen slash millennial, we're kind of like on that borderline. We weren't taught to just turn a camera on in our faces when we're in a crisis like Gen Z does and Gen Alpha does so readily, right? So like, even though we try to take down as many layers as we can of this performance or this any feeling that feels inauthentic, there's still underlying like undertone of performance there. I think it's just something we.
Well, absolutely, especially as soon as you put like hit record or you are recording, you put it out there, it's for everyone to see. And I think that's so much of the work is it's not just connecting to ourselves and really getting down to who we are and our authentic selves, but there's a whole other layer that happens in our minds, whereas we're worried about what other people are going to think and see. Right. And so I think there's a couple layers of not just even finding it and being able to be like, okay, this is who I really am, but then putting that out there for other people to see can be very vulnerable. And that's where I think a lot of us hold back because we're so concerned about feeling rejected or what other people are going to see or being canceled. And so that's part of this work of being an entrepreneur and being a content creator is really learning how to feel safe with being yourself and being seen.
Yes, that's it. I think like more safe we feel, the less pretending we have to do, the less performance we have to do. And if you are a performer, right? Like there's that piece of you, like Beyonce, Sasha Fierce, right? Is a piece of her. Not like she's Beyonce, like on the couch eating Cheetos, Beyonce stage.
Right.
You know what I mean? She becomes this alter ego, which I think is an alter ego that is actually authentic to her because her performances are so consistent and high quality that it does seem authentically like a piece of her is being expressed when she becomes fierce, right? Yeah.
So true. And I think that I know that for myself in this evolution of, I remember this. So before I even got certified as a life coach and even left my corporate job, this was when YouTube was YouTube was already going and some video formats were starting to pick up. And I remember being like, okay, if I'm going to do this, because I knew I wanted to be seen. I knew I wanted to be on video. I used to like practice. I used to set up like a little studio and I used to just take topics of like other coaches because at that point I didn't have my own thoughts or like I was still learning. So I would pick a topic and then go listen to other people's podcasts and come up with like a little recording it. They're probably like 4 months. Found these files of very first video.
Where?
On my computer, I have them. I actually tell you. I mean, I have things stored really well. So ultimately, I like look back. I was like, I was really performing, right? I had like the special, I like wore the professional shirt that I wouldn't really normally wear, and just like, hey, the lighting got when you see the lighting is horrible. But I tell the story to say that that I was really good and speak from it, right? There's always a little bit of this performative. There was always a little bit of what I look like. You guys, I've really struggled with my body image in my life, and so seeing myself on camera was very hard in the beginning, and I still have moments where I struggle. But I just did it. I just showed up and I practiced, and it was not good at first, but after doing it hundreds and maybe even thousands of times now, I've learned a level of just settledness in me. I'm like, okay, this is just part of my job. This is just who I am. And it's been fun now that I get to feel comfortable to let you guys all in. And I say this because this didn't come natural for me right away, right? Like it was literally years and years and years and years, and I'm still learning. And if you, in your soul, you know that you're meant to share a message or your voice or stories or your actor or your whatever it is, a model, you want to be seen, that desire, that knowing is meant for you. But it's your ability to really overcome a lot of your programming and some of this like need to feel safe that really is often in our way of fully showing up.
Wow, that's so beautiful. I mean, like how like full circle does that feel, to have found those files? And like you probably already know this since you're listening to the podcast, but there's something about Lauren that is just so tenacious about being in her business, because like friend, that you just practicing to be able to do it just shows like over how many years have you been practicing, you know what I mean? And to me that is actual like real authenticity, to be like, okay, I'm going to show up however I am right now, and I'm going to continue to keep on showing up, and maybe you'll see the progression of who I become over time. But I'm just going to like give it my best for what I've got, like whatever lighting or microphones or whatever you had back then.
And it was enough. And I remember because I started doing some Facebook videos. And I had a small YouTube video channel, and I'd get like just random messages from strangers being like, this is what I needed to hear. And it's just like, oh, like this really matters when you go out there. It's not about 100% being perfect. However, I am so impressed with Jen and her commitment to really learning the technology and having like beautiful setups. She has really helped me take my presentation. I'm like really comfortable with being in front of a camera, but I can pick up my iPhone and like make a video and then post it. And Jen's like, where's the lighting? So I think that, there's different pieces that come, but no matter where you're at, just start. I did it messily and I learned, and it gets better and better and better. And that's really what it's about. It's about doing it. And I always like to give this example of, somebody who wants to learn how to surf, they can watch YouTube videos, they can read a book, but until they go out there and get in the water and do it, there's going to be a lot of fumbling and a lot of like lessons and learning. And that's exactly with not only just learning how to be your authentic self in front of others, but also expressing yourself and learning how to really find your voice and talk to your people. So it is a path of self-discovery and also learning how to be uncomfortable and do it anyways, even when it's scary.
Man, that's it though, for real, you know? Because like, speaking of surfing, like I've heard that analogy before, and then until I actually tried to surf. Have you ever tried to surf?
Oh yeah, definitely. I got hit in the head with a surfboard.
I couldn't stand up, and I was like on this super long board, and Amber was like on the back of the board,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I was probably surfing in like 2 feet of water.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so vulnerable to just be like, I'm really just bad at this right,
Yeah.
you know, especially if you're like a perfectionist at all, which I would definitely consider myself like a perfectionist. I
Yeah.
would say the word recovering, but that would assume that I am beyond like that tendency, and I don't think I,
But I want
you
to stop.
know,
I'm so sorry to stop you, but this is so huge because I bet there's so many people listening right now that are the same. Like I think it's our generation of wanting to be perfect or having to prove ourselves. And so when we are put, and I see this so much with my clients, that the thing that really holds them back is they're like waiting to be perfect or they're waiting for the right time. And I think that is really hindering our ability to show up and practice being our full selves. And you just gotta do it. Like the doing it is the thing that breaks it, that then allows you to get better.
yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true, right? Like I saw it a lot when I was running the program inside of the hub,
Mm-hmm.
because I took note. There's a lot of students in the hub that were in my age range,
Mm-hmm.
or like slightly older, some slightly younger, but it was a group of professionals and entrepreneurs who just really, really cared about what they did with their businesses and who they were in their businesses. And it's so easy to let just be the hang up
Mm-hmm.
on, okay, I don't have the perfect lighting or sound or camera angles yet.
Yeah.
But like I think that's what I'm saying is like I really admire that about you. You know what I mean? Because like I think it was years and years of being in the fashion industry that did that did this to me, which isn't bad. I am grateful for the
Yeah.
skills because I get to like help my clients with part so that they don't
Yeah.
have to get into this perfectionism state,
Yeah.
and they can know they look and sound professional as
Right.
soon as they start posting their content, whatever it might be.
Right.
You
And so
know?
it
So it's
helps
like,
adding to their confidence to like really look it and feel it. And I think that is a huge part of it too. And I do want to say, like, this is still something I'm working on. I still have moments where I feel like I'm being performative. And me and you actually had a conversation about this, which then really made us want to talk about this, because it's going back to what makes it performative versus just you being your authentic self. Is I think it's really about the intention and your energy behind it.
mm, yeah, I think you're right. I think like something about the performance. And so just to clarify, like I'm not talking about like performers on stage right
Yeah.
now. We're talking about if you're somebody who's putting out content to like spread the word about your business, you know, spread awareness, then you can come at it from so many different angles. But when Lauren's saying like, you know, there's times when you're still performative and it depends on your intention. The thing that I know about Lauren is that no matter how you slice it, her intention is just of the utmost integrity. She has never once like given me the feeling or the vibe that she's trying to manipulate anybody. She really just deeply wants to help everyone who comes into her space. And I see the help that her clients get. And so like just being that nuanced about like, am I showing up in performance? Am I just come from, you know, like times when you're feeling low in your business,
Yeah.
and you feel like you're in a desperate mode, and we all go through that as entrepreneurs. So like her picking up on it is just like, you know, really, it should be really eye-opening, because I think we can all get to that point where we're like, oh yeah, I am, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
am in a performance right now because I really need something.
Right. And I think, thank you for going down this road, because I think this stems from is I really care. And what I know about you, if you're watching this, is that you really care. Right. And it's those that we're not necessarily like business minded or like driven towards that profit. There's a whole bigger reason for why we're doing what we're doing. And it's the connection to ourselves, our souls, our happiness that we really are trying to share with other people. So we're not trying to do things like everybody else, right? We're coming from a whole different place. And when you really care and you're even thinking about like, am I coming off salesy? How am I coming off? That's a good thing because you actually are our level of self-awareness. Now, what I see gets in our way is that we get too in our head around it and we allow ourselves to stick there and just think about it instead of actually taking the action, right? So it's okay. Even me, I've been doing this for 8 years. I've done hundreds of podcast episodes and I still get in my head about little things. So I say this to normalize it, that this is just the way that it is. And this is the work that I do with myself and my clients is learning how to shift out of it, which is the emotional release, right? So when the fear comes up or when the doubt, whenever we're not taking an action, whenever we're not speaking our mind, whenever we're not doing the thing we really want to do, there's always an emotion in the way. And so I've gotten really good at stopping, feeling my emotions, clearing my emotions so that then I'm able to get into a place where I feel very safe and very grounded. And in that space, then I take action. So yes, I'm doing it scared, but I'm pausing before taking the action and actually shifting the energy so that when I'm doing it, it's coming from a very clean place and I'm not actually in my emotions. I'm able to move it. And I think that there is a balance of doing it in a way where it feels like flow, because often when me and Jen are having these conversations, we are very much in flow, but it takes practice to learn how to shift into that place. And it's through our body, it's through our emotions, it's getting in our body. And when we can lock in, we can get out of our head. And when we get out of our head, we're freely speaking. And that's when people can really feel you.
I think that as you were saying that, I was I was thinking of like a counterpoint. I wasn't trying to think of a counterpoint, but it just popped into my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of like the observations that I do for my job in my job,
Yeah.
right? Like of just how different creators, influencers, people who show up on social media, how they handle having emotions while they're filming themselves, you know? And I did this test actually with myself because I made this observation before I did the test, and it was that very much more often than not, it's the younger generations who will allow themselves to have whatever emotion that they're having without needing to like clear it out or shift their energy or anything. And they can just turn on the camera and speak from where they're sad, angry, happy, giddy, like on a mad sort of spree, and they can just like be in their emotion while they are filming and then posting this content. And so I was like, oh, they don't feel the need to shift out of an emotion or do anything to shift out of the emotion. So the test that I did with myself was I knew that I wanted to see if I could do it. Like show up in a piece of content really, really raw. I didn't know how it was going to happen because I knew that I would have to catch myself in a raw emotion to be able to like do this piece of content. I guess I asked the universe for the opportunity is what actually happened. And then the universe delivered. Oh, always. Yes. When does it not? You know what I mean? I am the universe, exactly. Right? So last year when I had first moved to Mexico City, I was going to buy a phone to put my Mexican number on. And I was just in this space where I was like trying not to spend egregious amounts of money on things that I didn't need because I literally didn't have any furniture in my house and I just needed a phone number to be able to tie certain things to, you know, this living abroad. So I found this phone on Facebook Marketplace and Amber and I went to go pick it up from these people. Long story short, I got scammed. I'm not saying this is because it's Mexico. It's not. People get scammed everywhere, all over the world. So this has nothing to do with like what Mexican people are like or what Mexico as a country is like. I just want to put that out there, make sure everybody knows, you know?
We love Mexico, by the way. If you
Yeah,
don't know. We're
exactly.
obsessed with Mexico.
So I got scammed. I now count it as my gringo tax,
Yeah.
right, for moving to the city. Fine, whatever. But I was so upset. It was very much violating and broke my trust in that moment. And like, I was angry, not just at the person who had scammed me, but angry at myself for falling into the scam. So much so that I was just like really upset and crying.
Yeah.
And something in my brain was like, here's the opportunity to share your experience online. I grab my phone and I am sobbing. And I just like share the story on TikTok.
I remember this, by the way.
And I close my phone and just put it aside. Don't even think about it. Like, not even an hour later, my phone is blowing. I open the phone and there's like 60,000 views on this thing. And it's climbing. And I'm getting all kinds of comments. And the comments in the moment, because I was still in that emotion, hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were like, I was like, oh my God, these are people like calling me stupid and calling me out and telling me it's my fault and blah, blah, blah. And go back to your own country. And I'm like, valid. Now, then I was like, how dare you? You know what I mean? So hurt. But I'm going to say two things. One, it worked.
Yeah.
Showing up in my raw, authentic, and real emotion worked on social media as I had suspected that it would. And number two, like, I took a moment in that moment to think about, like, is this the way that I want to show my authenticity?
Mhm.
Because we still have a choice. Being authentic doesn't mean just showing up raw all the time, no matter what. You're still allowed to use filters. And I don't mean like facial filters, because I use no facial filters. You're allowed to use those too, but like, you're allowed to decide how much you're going to let people in to your energy, to your space, to your story. And you don't have to be all the way on this other side to show up authentically.
Totally.
Right?
Oh, I love that. I love that you told that story, because it's true. And it's not a counter at all. It's it's a, yes, you can learn how to move out of your emotions and post, and you can learn how to post raw and authentically. And I know that from working with my clients and just the work that we've done, the more in our emotions, no matter if they're positive or negative, that connects. People can feel that. Right. And that's what we're saying. So it's like, even if, that's the authenticity. And, we live in a law of attraction world. And I see this all the time where, my clients are showing up and they're taking the actions, but they're not connected. They're not feeling, they're not authentically in it. And that's the thing where there is this balance and there is this level. And I think that showing up authentically and crying is next level bravery, is really just you doing it. And we remember, Jen, when we were working together 4 years ago, we did a masterclass about money. And then after the masterclass, the day after, Jen had real life realizations around money. And remember, we were on a call, and so we decided to go live. And on this live, you broke down and you cried. Remember this?
Yeah.
And you were and Jen was so raw. So this one masterclass that we did then turned into the next day us doing a spontaneous masterclass, which then that spontaneous masterclass of not even just reflection of the masterclass of Jen being raw led to us making $24,000 in 24 hours. So then we recorded a third masterclass to talk about how all of it unfolded.
True. I do remember that.
Right. So
yeah,
I say this to like allow us to use our emotions to make people feel, right?
But I'm going to say, like, I don't actually love that that's how it unfolded.
Okay. Tell me more.
I don't. And I know that it wasn't my intention to like use like pity or emotional manipulation to like make money. And I don't think that that's what I was doing at the time.
No, not at all. Because it was so unplanned and raw in the moment.
Totally. And I still have like that feeling or that undertone of like, is that what that was? And it's still kind of a question. And no matter how off, I mean, this is 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I've had time to answer this question for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I actually even discussed it with somebody on a YouTube channel. I was anonymous on the channel.
Yeah, I remember that.
But like, it was one of those things where I was like, I actually don't want to do that again. Like, I don't want to be selling something when I'm in that state
Because you're so raw.
For me,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel good.
Right.
You know
But
what I mean?
and this is like, I think, part of the evolution of what me and Jen talked about in our first podcast of this. I mean, this first episode of this podcast was that we had to really let a lot of things go so that we can then become in alignment. And I think that there is a difference between being a hot mess and pushing record and just like going for it. And I think there's a part of it where you can pause and you can be in the right intention of why you're doing it, right? And I think that the thing that determines all of the action, whether it's messy, whether it's thought out, whether it's spontaneous, is your intention behind it, right? Is it pure? Is it connected? And that's this authenticity piece that's really coming together because you can't fake that. It's either real or it's not real, right? It's like, it's the reason you're behind you're doing it. People that are out there being like, every time I cry, I make money, or every time I cry, if they keep on doing it, it's going to lose its appeal and people are going to feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we can't lie to the universe. We can't lie because our vibes don't lie. Right? Like that's like the cheesiest thing. We actually did a podcast on that, but it's the intention behind it. But I also see because your brand of who you are now, the crying raw doesn't fit in your brand now. So that's why you wouldn't do that now. Right.
Yeah. I mean, like, and I think that at this point, because of the way everything like went down, my one of my biggest values is like integrity in the way that I run my business, deliver, sell, all of it. You know what I mean? So like it makes me, and not in a bad way, I don't think. I think it's just for awareness, but like question, like ask myself, check back in and not just assume that because it's me doing the thing that it's always coming from a good place. I do believe that I am a good person. I'm not saying that I'm a bad person. I'm just saying like I want to make sure that I'm not doing some things that I feel that I've observed in like the coaching space, right? Especially because it made me, not it made me, I mean, I did a lot of reflection, you know what I mean, over the past 3 years on what went down, like how I wanted to process it and how I wanted to come out on the other side. Like for a long time, I thought I was just going to disappear and never come back. You know what I mean?
No, Jen, there was years where this would never have been in our reality when you were processing. And I think that's what, like, I am so proud of you just like having this such authentic this conversation and being so raw, because those that actually question it are the ones that are in the right place. Like you think about parents that are like, am I a good parent? Am I a good parent? Those are the good parents because they actually care. It's the same thing with businesses and like wanting to be those that have a high integrity. We're always checking in because it's so important to us. And like that's the part that makes you you, and that is normal.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. And to all of us, right? Because I do to you guys, this is what I teach is ethical sales, non-salesy, icky sales. And I still find myself thinking, because I care, because it's who I don't want to be is somebody that's not authentic or somebody that's not in alignment. And so it's always on my mind.
Yeah.
And same with all of us. So if you're in the same way, like you're normal, like that makes you like a good human being. Like that, this is the core of that, like authenticity is the energy behind it.
I mean, I see that. And part of it too, right, is like I still hold judgment for some people in these spaces. And I honestly think that's okay. I think I'm allowed to. And I think I'm allowed to have my thoughts and my opinions and share whatever pieces of it feel like aligned to share. But like it's really strong in me, that whole piece of showing up with like the deepest integrity.
Totally.
You know?
And I think that these are the conversations that we want.
For sure.
Right. Like we don't want to ignore that this is and let's be honest, it's an interesting time right now, the personal growth industry. A lot of things have shifted over the last few years. It's not like back in 2020, 2021, 2022, where like everybody and their moms were making money as a coach. And that is why it's actually even more important for us to be authentic now, because people are taking their time and being more what's the right word to say it?
Like
Discerning.
discerning.
And I think that's the word I'm really using, is that us consumers, we were being discerning, and I want us to be discerning. This is a good thing for the industry, and that's why me and you, because we care, we are trying to be discerning ourselves with how we're positioning and what we're talking about and what we're bringing, because there is a whole other side out there of people that are not authentic and that are very salesy. And that's the thing, like when we're being sold to and it feels icky, it's because there's a lack of integrity, or there's some kind of energy, something's out of alignment. And that's what I say, is that in order to really be able to provide our services in a way that feels good to us, right? And that feels good to them, is us being connected and knowing why we're doing it. And the thing that makes something salesy versus not salesy is the intention and the energy behind it.
Yeah.
Because somebody can say something in the same, and somebody else can say the same thing, but it can feel and sound completely different.
And I will even say that practice that you had done, or like practicing, did you post these practice sessions, by the way?
For what?
The ones that you just found on your computer?
No, I will share. I will, in the links, I will make sure somewhere that I share these sessions, because it's amazing.
I'm obsessed. I love that.
I feel like I almost want to like stop recording, let you watch them, and then we come.
We'll do that when we take a break and film our next.
Okay.
But I just have this thought about, like, if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself, like, is me practicing being someone that isn't me? I'm going to say that, like, practicing who you are in your most authentic self-expression is literally you just uncovering this piece of you that might want to be expressed, right? Like the Sasha Fierce side, right? Like you can see a difference in the way that somebody even performs, which one is more authentic? The one where they're like stumbling and fumbling, or the one where they're polished? Like, I don't think either of those, or practicing, is like what will make you authentic or inauthentic. But like, you should also be happy with how you're expressing yourself on camera, voice, whatever it might be, in writing. So like, practice is great. And I love that, because to a certain extent, we don't show people our process. I mean, all of this is kind of like culminating to like 2025, right? Like when there's like, Gen Alpha is already old enough to like record themselves and put themselves on video.
Yeah.
So crazy. Gen Z is already out here, like, lead the way in some way, shape, or form. And so like, the older generations, hate to put us in that bucket, but like, we can now not just learn from people who are older than us, but people who are younger than us too, which is super interesting.
Right.
And
I think that's always, and me and Jen, at one point, we did some really deep research into like who our people are, especially my people. And technology has been one of the biggest things that holds back our clients that are especially 40 and above. And
for sure.
If you think about it, that's why I put a little bit more effort into it, because I want to be able to keep up with the people that are like, were born doing it, right? That it's just so easy to do it. And, I think that we have to allow ourselves to be beginners. And I think that's the hardest thing, is that I know if you're listening to this, you're like me. You're good at what you do. When you set your mind to something, you're like, I'm going to do it, and you're going to figure it out. And I like being the best at what I do. I like being good at what I do. I hate being bad at when I'm not good at it. Right. And I think that's what this is about. And this is like, this episode is really turned on like how to be authentic in content and in our businesses. And I think it just comes down to continuing to just be ourselves, go back to that authenticness and like why we're doing it in the first place.
Like being a beginner is
being a beginner, right? Like, And I can't wait. I can't wait to show you these videos, because that was a very beginner me. But over time, it became second nature. And now I'm like, okay, let's just push play. In fact, like if you guys go to my Instagram, you'll see a lot of my reels are just like, here I am. And I think that for a while, and I want to make a caveat here. You have to figure out what your brand is and what your style is, right? So Jen, she helps people show up on video. That's her thing. She's a master of it. So she's such a perfectionist. So just us doing this has completely up-leveled me in what I'm doing. But my brand personally is a little bit more unedited. So to me, to show up on a Instagram with just like no hair, no makeup, just go for it, is part of my brand a little bit, right? So I don't want you to get caught up in thinking that it needs to be one way or another. What is actually most important is that it's authentic to you and how you want the world to see you. So showing up and crying may or may not be right for you. Showing up polished may or may not be right for you. But in the beginning, I'm giving you permission to be messy, because it's going to take time to figure it out. So you might as well just do it imperfectly in the first time, and then eventually over time, the polish comes.
You know what? Lauren just showed me this the other day, so it like popped into my head. But I totally forgot that you were like the person who helped me feel safe in showing up that way. Like I had never before the picture that we took in 2021.
Right. Wait, let me set the stage for you. So for the very first time me and Jen met in person was April 2021. And she was staying with me for a week, which is exactly what I'm doing with her right now. I'm staying with her for a week. And we're sitting on my couch and we're creating a bunch of content. We're selling our mastermind. I don't know what we're doing. We're doing a bunch of stuff. And I was like, let's just create content right here. It's the morning time. She has no makeup on and nothing. I'm like, we're taking a picture and we're posting it. She's like, no. I'm like, nope, we're doing it. And I made her do it. And it was growth for you, because it was
totally
like
huge growth for me.
She had never showed up without makeup. And to me, that's like, no, I am like, yeah, no big deal. I'm just going to be me. Like I'm going to do like my hair messy, like some of my reels, but sometimes it's really polished too. That I think is it's a real freedom thing to be able to show up in such a vulnerable realness, but it doesn't have to be all the time, and it doesn't have to be your brand.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because it's like, did it feel like free? I mean, at first I was like freaked out. I didn't want anybody to see me. I literally had never in my life shown up without makeup on. I mean, I was a makeup artist for 12 years, for God's sakes. Like, you know what I mean? That was my brand. And so like now, so to share with you how it has transpired into like widening out my brand. I have videos on my YouTube channel where I'm just like, washed hair, lotioned face, you know what I mean? No makeup on. Yeah. And it's just like, I wanted to put something out there. And I think that over the years too, I have like grown in my self-acceptance of what I look like on camera, because like, yeah, it was, man, I think the first time that I showed up on any sort of like public content was when I must have been like 21 maybe. And I had come home from college to like shoot this Filipino American news like show. And I did my hair and makeup and wore the suit and the shirt, like what you were talking about, dressed up professional. So this is like 21 years ago now, almost to the, you know what I mean? Like 21 years ago. And I put on my like newscaster voice and was like, this is how you show up professional. And so that was way before I was a makeup artist, you know? And so like to have started at that point building my personal brand, I mean, like nobody saw this video. I mean, if you go on, you'll see like maybe 2,000 people saw the video.
Everyone's going to go look for it.
I know. Oh my goodness. So embarrassing. But regardless, right? Like it took me how long to get to the point where I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm a total troll. And I don't need to always be wearing makeup. I mean, I like on these episodes, you're going to see that I am wearing makeup because I do enjoy putting my makeup on and showing up in a certain way. So I will be showing up that way on this podcast. But there are pictures and videos of me not wearing makeup, like with my hair in a bun, making coffee on my Instagram. And this is thanks to you. Like that is not a Jen original.
I know. But I think people like seeing a little bit of raw, right? We don't want to see the hot. We don't want to see the hot mess express, right? Like we want to see but we want to see like people being human. And that's really like this year specifically, like one of my big personal goals in my business is actually to be seen and to share more. And I'm a super casual person. Like I don't often have my hair done. So I'm often inspired. And so in the past, what I would do is I'd have these inspired ideas and then I would have this notebook and I'd be like, okay, once I have my hair and makeup and once I look good enough and I'm in the right place, then I'll go ahead and create content. But you know how often that actually happened? Very often. And the crazy thing is that I'd be walking and I'd have inspired ideas and then I would like voice note into my phone like the thing that like was inspired. And I was talking to a client who became a friend has a huge following, and I was talking about trying to get over some of my ability to create more content. And she's like talking about my process, and I'm telling her what I do. She's like, "You're speaking it into your phone anyways. Why wouldn't you just turn the camera on and share it live when you're in the moment having the realization where people can feel your power and your passion?" I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." Because right, right. So it's like this is the balance. And once again, we have to figure out what your brand is, what's in alignment to you, what's both authentic for you. But you can see there's two sides of the coin here with me and Jen, even how we view content a little bit and how we create it, where I'm just like in the moment. And this is also kind of how I am at human design and my body's like, I get these inspiration and these hits. So when I have it, I might as well just channel it into something because I won't go back and do it later. Mm-hmm. So this is part of you. And this authenticity is like understanding, like, when are you most in the zone to share your authentic voice? Like, what actually gets you in the zone? Because I've now learned how to get into a place where I'm channeling so I can do it more on demand than just sitting down being like, what do I say? What do I do? So I think there's some nuances to actually being able to tap in to that authentic place and speak very authentically.
And when in doubt, you can use ChatGPT.
Yes. Which I also do that a ton too.
Well, I was like thinking about this yesterday because I just put out a YouTube video yesterday or this morning actually. And I was like, I had a purpose for the video. I always have a purpose. I always want to teach something or like share a realization, something that'll help creators over 40, like get a video basically. But I wanted to also, like, I had another intention. I wanted to share the workshop that I'm doing, which by the time it's going to be over. But anyhow, I was like, I don't have any huge push or pull right now with anything that I am needing to say or wanting to say. So I went into ChatGPT and was like, hey, can you help me with an idea of what I can make this video about?
Yeah.
And it did. And it's super helpful because it's not anything that's inauthentic to me. It's things that I would have said had I had the brain capacity to think about it and script myself. It's interesting too, right? Because it's not like, that wasn't like a, in the moment, I was inspired sort of thing. That
I saw the process. Jen's like, God, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. And it's like, I'm doing it now. I got to figure this out.
It's like I typed it in, took a shower, and then I like.
Yeah. And I love that we're telling these stories because I think there's a time where it's like you're in the flow and you want to feel good. And there's times where it's like I'm running a business and I create content and I need to do it consistently. So we're doing it now.
Oh, I can't wait until they see the pictures that we just took with Elodie because, wow, this feels like us.
Yeah.
I mean, this really just feels, I was like, it feels like both of us.
Yeah.
And it feels like the thing that happens when we come together. And I'm saying this because, okay, so we had that fabulous photo shoot that happened in the Hollywood Hills. Part of me feels like, wow, that was way more on brand for me than it was for Lauren. Yep. Even though you looked super fierce.
Dude, I looked amazing.
Amazing.
I was like, I want to like
you. A bottle of
I did. Yeah. No, I did. We both did.
So like, knowing that we were going to do the photo shoot was like, I need to make sure that this is on brand for both of us because it won't feel right if it's just on brand for me or just on brand for you. Right. And so it was like this discussion, right? Something I do is brand strategy. I'm like, how do we strategize so it doesn't turn out like feeling very time sensitive? I wanted to feel like, oh, I can actually use these for the next 5 years if I wanted to.
Totally.
Because it looks like us, you know?
Yeah. And I'm like speechless, literally speechless because it was so both of us and it was so fun. And during it, we were having fun. And I remember after the photo shoot, she was giving us a preview, and Jen was like, this is the most authentic I've seen you look, or the most happy I've seen you look. It was just
like
so
real. It really looks like Lauren.
I was just like, oh my gosh, this feels so good. And this comes back to, and so much of my work that I keep on reminding my clients is getting out of our head and into our body, right? And I think that comes down to when we're thinking about being authentic and self-expression, it's really when we're just be able to be in that moment, because it's an energetic thing. It's never just the words we're saying, it's how we're saying and the energy that really makes it click. And that's the same thing with like pictures and copy and making offers and showing up. It's the same thing. It's not just about what we're doing, it's who we're actually being while we're doing it.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Because like when I look at the pictures and I'm just like remembering some of them, you know what I mean, in my mind, because like we don't have the final pictures just yet.
She took 1,200 pictures of us.
And we have another shoot this afternoon.
She's coming right after this. Yeah.
So the crazy part about it is that seeing how you have this like, okay, so this is how I kind of view you and your brand anyway. You have like this super playful part and this very carefree, like boho kind of vibe to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this other part that is the very like studious and serious entrepreneur who's had her business for 8 years. That is like, you know, you're a master. You've done 10,000 hours a while back. You know what I'm saying? Of like everything that you've been doing. So for me, sometimes when I see pictures of you, I'm like, oh, this is only the playful side, or this is only this other serious side.
Yeah.
But these pictures feel like this real combination and like this holistic view of you and your brand.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that.
I appreciate that. And when, for those that are like, okay, that's great, but how do I do that? Or like, how do I feel like in that? And this is the work that I've been doing on myself. I've actually been and as Jen was saying, like, I am obsessed with my work. I'm obsessed with what I do. I'm always studying it. I'm always getting better. I'm always learning. And in July 22nd, 2024, I started this experiment with myself. And it's called the embodiment experiment. I'm actually doing a group right now, but I'm doing this for a year with myself. And I've been taking extra time just being with myself, consuming, not trying to think, but just really being in me and spending time by myself. And there has been this, and people have said that, like, I feel a difference. There's like a difference in your energy. And it's just because I'm so connected to myself without outside factors, right? Like I've been really, really protecting my energy from friends and people. And Jen, you've seen me kind of pull away from people and whatnot, because when you can get to the core of who you are, people can just feel it and it shines and it's energetic. And this is the work I do with all of my clients. So it's about getting in your bodies. It's about getting out of your mind.
Yeah. And it's also like what I do see too is that when you do this work, things shift and that can be scary. And I think that maybe sometimes it is like a nerve-wracking invitation to be called in to like really experience yourself, be with yourself. But once you do it, it's like there's this undeniable like boundary that starts to form around you where you're like, I can't engage with that energy because it doesn't feel good
feel aligned.
anymore.
It doesn't feel aligned. And also, just to reflect to you, you know, for those who didn't know, like Jen took a couple of years off and just didn't think about business and didn't even know she wanted to do business. And it was like in that space where you were literally kind of a hermit. You just did you for for you guys, for years. She had a tiny little network of people that just really helped her see herself. And now on the other side of taking time off, grew a YouTube channel to like 7,000 people, like just popping off, because once again, it comes down to the inner work that you did. Like I'm just so proud of you and just like how fast this second iteration of your business is actually popping, because the energetics, the foundation, the alignment is there.
Yeah.
And that's for me too. And that's why it's showing and that's why it's coming. And you guys have probably see all the time, you're like scrolling on Instagram or Facebook and you see other people out there talking, and some people you resonate with and some people you don't, and they're saying the same thing. it's because of their energy. And so going back to this authenticity, we're all vibrational beings. And the most potent, there's actually was recently, I don't even remember the study, but there was a study done and they were measuring energy waves in different emotions. And the strongest energy wave out of every single emotion, all of the emotions out there, is authenticity.
Is it? I
It
thought it was
is.
gratitude.
Nope. Authenticity. And I'll have to actually, I'm going to find it. I'll link it up because I like really want you guys to see this. But there is a study out there shows like authenticity is like the most powerful vibration out there. So when we're getting out of our minds, we're getting into our body, we're getting into our authentic self. And I teach this a lot in my master classes and with my clients. I don't believe we just have our mind, right? A lot of coaches, a lot of people out there are talking about mindset work, our conscious mind and our subconscious mind. But you guys, that's only one part of who we are. Who our truth is our non-conscious, right? Is our soul, is the like non-human part, right? Like who we are, our preferences are all different, our personality are authentic. So when we're in our heads trying to answer these questions and speak from our mind, we're not coming from our most authentic place. Our most authentic place is that non-physical part, our heart, our soul. So that's why it's so important that we're speaking from our heart. We're speaking from who we really are. And what's often in our way from that truth of aligning to our authenticity is our old programming or society norms.
I was thinking it's like the masks that we've built up.
Yeah.
You know, because like, and it's always an and. Like, sometimes we don't even realize what masks we've built up.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't know that I've ever been like, I'm going to perform right now. I've always maybe thought, okay, yeah, this is me in my authentic expression at this moment. And I think like as I continue to peel back layers, I see the mask starting to fall off. You know what I mean? I start to see like, oh, okay, that was a mask. But I didn't know it until it does fall off. And it's such a weird process because the level of vulnerability required is also nerve-wracking, you know?
Yeah. Oh, this is so beautiful. This has been really a fun conversation because to see each other evolve over these years and to see here. And for me and Jen, when we first kind of got together to play around with this idea of doing this podcast, we decided that we were only going to do it if it was fun and it flowed, right? And I think that this, and like, I want to thank you. Like, thanks for doing this again with me because this right here is like my most authentic self-expression is when I'm with you, friend. Serious. No, but it's true. It's just so easy, right? And it's like, and I talked about this on the last podcast episodes where now I'm going to get emotional. When we stopped doing our podcast, we knew it wasn't right and we were ready to not do it anymore. But it left such a hole in me because it was like the most fun and most easy in my business. And for years, I was searching for that again. Because it was so easy and fun. And so like, this is what we want for you is finding like, what is that flow? What is that fun? What's that most authentic self? And like, go do that.
That's the way. We were just talking about crying on camera.
Now, she's breaking her brand. My brand. Pull it together, Jen. Pull it together. Okay. Well, thank you for joining us for another episode. I'm going to make Jen watch this video of me right now, and we'll report back.
All right, y'all. See you in the next one.
Okay. And as promised, here are mine and Jen's first videos that we recorded so far long ago. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Lauren Ciesco, and I'm a life coach. My purpose in life is to be an example of what is possible and to help others tap into their full potentials by breaking through limiting beliefs and creating an intentional life. I believe by learning to choose the right thoughts and beliefs and by managing your emotions that you can create anything you want in life. about 3.5 years ago, I woke up one day and I hated who I was in that moment. But I soon realized that who I was in that moment was a residual effect of my past thoughts and actions. And I no longer wanted to live the life I was living and wanted to create something new for myself. So I decided to change, and ever since that moment, I've been on a path of self-discovery, learning, and personal growth, and really working on becoming the best version of myself.
Hey, I'm Jen Navarro, and I'm about to change your life. Now, have you ever thought that I wish social media didn't exist? Do you think that social media is giving you anxiety? Is it ruining your life? Is it making you feel a certain type of way? All right, listen to this. Social media is actually just a circumstance. Circumstances are always neutral. Circumstances are facts that everybody, like 100 people sitting in the same room, would agree on, and they actually can't cause our emotions. If you want to change the way that you feel about social media, what you actually have to change is not social media. We can't like obliterate social media and then all of a sudden you'll feel better about yourself. The thing we have to change is our thoughts.
Hey friend, enjoying this podcast and want to work with us to simplify and scale your business? We have a full-service boutique agency. Check out the show notes for more information and to apply to work with us.